Guys, it's Amanda from Indian Motorcycle Charlotte, and I am here with the Gandhi of Indian interviewing, Curtis Sawyer from Indian Rider Radio.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me. This
Absolutely.
is wonderful. I mean, I get to hang out a couple of days in the parking lot here and just hang out and kind of let the vibe roll over me. Okay, yeah. I'm okay with that.
Guys, this morning I literally rolled up on my bike and I thought it was Tim in his RV because his is out back too. And I'm waving like a goofball until I realized it was Curtis, and then I started waving even harder. But it's been such a good time having you.
Yeah, it's great. This is part of what we wanted to do with this whole tour, is to do some dealership visits, drop in, meet some of the people that we've talked to and interacted with so many times. And you guys are like family now. You're on the show and part of, and yeah, it was like running into my sister.
Isn't that kind of weird
really,
how we talk all the time and yet I hadn't met you in person and it doesn't even blink? But
same thing happened with so many of my listeners now, and Brian Remington and two Indians. I ran into him at the Southeast Iron Bar Tour. It was like running into my brother. I'd known him forever apparently, but so it's been kind of fun. Yeah.
Well, it's been wonderful. We've had an opportunity. You got to interview Tim and Lloyd this morning about everything. That'll post later. We are going to have him test out a Flash Challenger in just a little bit.
Yes, I am.
I'm going to get pictures of his face, guys. Don't worry about it. But I wanted to have you on the other side of the interview table.
Okay.
Because you're always talking to everybody and you get the gist of everybody else, and he makes you feel so comfortable, you guys. I know you've seen all of this stuff. But I just wanted to know, how did you become Indian Rider Radio?
Oh, well, I've told the story a lot of times, but it really boils down to this, is that I was working with my son-in-law in a dealership in Colorado Springs. They opened Mike's Big Indian motorcycle. And once that got on its way, it was probably time for me to step away. I didn't know quite what I was going to do in retirement, but my early career had been in radio, and I mean very early, like right out of high school. And then later in the auto industry, and later in the motorcycle industry. And so this is kind of a culmination of all the things I've ever done, all rolled into one neat little package that...
You were clearly born with radio voice, so...
a lot of this, a lot of bad coffee. This is not bad coffee, mind you, but bad coffee and other vices will give you this as well.
For sure. A little raspiness.
A little bit, yeah. But it was really more my wife's idea than my own. She was an avid podcast listener, so I started looking around and seeing if there were podcasts like the one I do, and there wasn't. There's a lot of motorcycle-related ones with different genres and niches and whatever, but I wanted to do something that had a little bit more faster pace, maybe was a little more interactive with the listener and people like yourself, and so I wanted to fashion it like a radio talk show. Everybody told me that would fail.
Really?
And I didn't believe them, thankfully, and instead of failing, it took off. So now here we are.
It just feels natural, and like you said, the biggest thing is having a family feel to things, because there are so many podcasts, and there's a lot of YouTube stars, and they'll sit there and tell you what they like about the bike, what they don't like about the bike,
sure.
And you know, everyone's opinion, which is great, but no one really gets to interact, and people want to feel, like you said, they know you already, it's your family, and that you took this thing on the road now. How long have you been on your RV?
Well, I bought the RV April 3rd. I then drove it from California to Colorado, spent a couple of weeks getting it set up and trying to get the feel for it, which, by the way, if you are even considering RVing, do not buy the thing and then leave with it. You need to spend a little time doing the old shakedown.
Up a little.
Yeah. I went to YouTube University for a couple of weeks, but it was worth every minute. And my wife and daughter traveling with me. It's turned out that I could bring the bike and the studio and everything. It worked out, and this is kind of a dream job.
I love it.
Yeah.
Anything with this industry is a dream in a sense, and we've talked about, Curtis and I have talked about the passion that I mean, it's an exciting industry itself, and it's exciting times, and what Indian and Polaris have done together, especially recently, has been phenomenal. And
it really has, and you know, Polaris made a commitment to the brand that other incarnations of Indian hadn't made, and that is that they were going to bring the resources to bear to make it successful. Instead of saying, hey, let's build some bikes and see if people like them, they committed to it, and that commitment is shown in the dealership settings, in the product itself, in the response to the product. You know, I like talking about the brand. I love the brand, and I'm very enthusiastic about it. But I also was always looking for a technically superior motorcycle. And instead of, having to drop 10 grand at the parts counter just to make it do what I wanted it to do, now I can walk up, buy the bike, and know that from the jump, I've got a pretty good setup. Everything I do after that, like Lloyd'z stuff, is just icing on the cake.
Speaking of, what are you going to get done to your bike with Lloyd'z stuff?
Well, Lloyd'z stuff, first, my friend Terry Daniel with Rush Racing Products, whom, by the way, is helping me out immensely, and I'm going to have more information about that very soon. I will tell you about it. But I'm really thinking, I don't know if I need to go 126, but I understand that a 116 is pretty strong.
It is pretty strong. It just depends on what kind of, high-end horsepower you're looking for, torque. But I don't know how you ride.
I ride, more these days, I ride a lot of 2-up. So what I want is I want low-end torque, and I want a very predictable motorcycle. Mm-hmm. One of the challenges that a lot of guys run into is they go all out and they do a lot of performance work on their bike, which is wonderful. But it makes the bike then just a little quirky, okay? Whether it's throttle response or braking or something about the bike becomes a little more sensitive, a little more quirky. That's hard on a passenger, okay? This action, doing this in the back seat all day?
Yeah, a little smooth.
Yeah, that'll end their whole riding career. So I want something that delivers the power smoothly, predictably, but will allow me to ride as aggressively as I like to ride. So I will actually spend more money on brakes and suspension than I'll ever spend on motor
Yeah, I
parts.
mean, that's not a bad idea either.
Yeah.
I've been looking at suspension, but I would say, 126 is what we put on all of our B4s, but we absolutely always tune it to make sure that rideability is there for you.
Yeah.
So that is key for everything.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not a lot of people that take that into consideration.
No.
It's just a matter of build it as big as we can, and dyno numbers are all it is. I don't think that's the case, and I think for most riders to go down that road, just for the sake of going down that road, rethink it a little bit, be a little more selective. Now, when you get here, that will be nearly impossible, because you'll see the work they're doing, you'll ride one of these bikes, and then you're stuck. It's going to happen.
You catch the fever.
Oh, dear God.
It is true.
Yeah, and I've got horsepower addict gear now. But I think that for myself, and maybe it's the way I came up and the kind of riding I do now, the predictability, the manageability, and the rideability are much more important.
Absolutely, comfort-wise. No, that's that's more of my ride as well. I know I'm pretty new at this, but you get, and I hear customers all over the place, you get people who want that Challenger power, and they want that flash. I know you, and you only care about the numbers and beating your buddies, and then you have the people who just want to be as comfortable as possible, and they want that lifestyle. So that's the joy of Indian itself right now, and being home of the performance Indian, because you can have it both ways.
Exactly.
Stock, you can have a crazy horsepower.
Well, but think about this too, and it's nobody's fault. It just is kind of the way it is these days. Is that it's hard for dealers, especially when they're trying to sell motorcycles and apparel and all those things, to make the commitment and investment that your store and others have made to pushing that performance envelope. You guys are really the template for the performance arm of a dealership, and that's really hard for some guys to get their head around, because it seems like it's a big expense for a little return and all these other things. Not the case. It's not. But to find a shop that can do the work that you want done and that will do it in such a way that they can back it up, guys, you've been to places and gone, oh, that wasn't what I had in mind. Not the case here, and not the case in a lot of stores. But these guys are kind of like the template.
That means a lot, and I know that's a part of our program for the RTC, growing that for everybody and making that available to everyone across the country and even in other countries, Netherlands and Canada. It just keeps growing and growing, and it's really cool to hear that, because if they can't come to Charlotte, if it's too far for them, if they are looking for something that they can't have, these RTC centers and Lloyd'z dealers are there for them, and I think that's a really cool part about growing as a dealer nation.
Yeah.
Just becoming friends in a sense instead of competitive.
Well, I think it's important, and I saw it in the auto industry, is that when you go to buy a car, okay, it's Saturday morning, and you know where all the car dealerships are. And you will go from one to the next, to the next, to the next, until you find what you're looking for, and really all you have to do is cross the road. Okay?
Yeah.
Not the case with the Indian Dealer Network. It's not that big yet, okay? So creating a relationship with your dealership, and knowing that they are there on your side, in addition to being connected to other stores, I think that's important. Because if you don't network in this industry, we really suffer, because the customer expects that if they've been to Charlotte, they're going to have a similar experience somewhere else or somewhere else. And they are deeply disappointed when they don't. Don't disappoint these people. Okay? Want to sell more motorcycles? Want to sell more t-shirts? Do not disappoint your customers. Set your expectation bar someplace where they can reach it. And these guys have set the expectation bar way up here, but they do reach it, and that's the difference, in my opinion.
Well, that means a lot.
You guys do a great job.
Oh, that means a lot. I think the biggest thing is making it, like you've said over and over, an experience. And it's exciting, and whether it's your first bike, it's your 8th bike, it doesn't matter. It's still exciting, and we want to bring that. I said popcorn machine. Curtis quickly told me that was probably not the best idea, so I need to rethink this. Apparently it's very messy.
Apparently she has a thing for pushing a broom, because when you have popcorn in your store, you have popcorn everywhere in your
That
store.
sounded fun. Yeah, we're going to have to go back to the drawing board for that one. But we're going to think of more things. While Boyd's working on his exhausting cams, I'll be working on popcorn machines and stuff.
See, this is the backbone of the store right here.
No.
This is the backbone of the store.
So what is next for you? I know you came from Charleston.
Yeah.
Came here.
Yes.
What's next up?
Well, as most of you guys know, I sold my house recently, so we still got to go back and do a couple of things business-wise with that. We're in the vaccination cycle, so we have to go back and get that handled. And then we turn right around and head back out. And we're coming right back to this part of the country. We're going to start at the Thundering Indians, the Smokies Ride.
Awesome.
Drove through the Pigeon Forge area going south initially, and thought, wow, I might have to just miss that Southeast Iron Butt thing, because this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I want to go to the world's largest knife store. I understand that's there. Okay, I have a thing for knives. And Chuck Cameron just got done having some surgeries, but Chuck and Lawrence Hodge are involved with that, and they were two of my very first guests on Indian Rider Radio. If I don't go see them, they're not only going to be mad, but I'm going to hate myself. So.
Milestone moment.
Yeah, I gotta go throw a hug around those guys.
So your beginnings.
Yeah, and then we'll be backtracking up into Minnesota. We'll stop up there and do some stuff with Riding Fish. We're trying to plan a little something around the Labor Day weekend, I think, or Memorial Day weekend, where we maybe host a ride, Fish and I.
Awesome.
That should be tons of fun. On the list is also Port Royal for the American Flat Track races this year, Mission King of the Baggers at Laguna Seca, and quite a few other little stops in between.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
How am I going to send postcards to you? I don't even know where you are.
Well, I'm going to just put the P.O. box up and hope that it fills up and I don't have to come back and everything.
I have to tell you, it's one of my favorite stories. Is I looked on my desk yesterday and there was a package from Jason, Brave Wolf Customs, and I started to open it because I assumed it's my desk.
Right.
Package, and it said to Curtis, and I was like, oh, guess I shouldn't open this, but he didn't know where you were, so he just started mailing stuff. I like it.
Yeah, well, Jason says I had some stuff I wanted to take with me and show off, and Jason's been a super sponsor of the show. Brave Wolf Customs, bravewolf.us, there's my plug. No, the guy is incredible, and I don't mean just as an artist and as a business person. Jason is one of those guys that really wants to grow the motorcycle community, especially around this brand. And to the point where he was looking for an opportunity to get involved with Indian Rider Radio. I announced our full ride scholarship program. He jumped on it immediately. By the way, if you've been waiting for that, I apologize, but we do have our 2 monthly winners coming very soon. I'll get them connected, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But it had to take a little bit of a back burner while I was getting on the road, so bear with me.
Chris has been a little busy.
Yeah, things have been going on. Yeah, the short version is we sold the house. We then still had some time to pack out, which was nice because the people that wanted were coming from out of the area. But we used all of that. We used all of the extra time, got the other place bought, and now it's being built. And so I'm living the RV life as best I can. Yeah.
It's okay, it's okay. Well, I know that we've been trying to keep it under wraps, a little bit of a secret.
Yes.
But come Sturgis, Lloyd's Garage at the Buffalo Chip is our huge project when Sturgis Rally comes around, and we are lucky enough to have you be a huge part of it.
Yes.
He's going to be set up with us. And Curtis, I think we should do something for the customers.
I think so too, and we've talked kind of around this, we've alluded to it, but I would like to do something. You guys have some amazing ideas, but I want to do something that takes somebody backstage.
Okay.
Let's have a little fun. Now, I'm not saying the big stage. We're not going to go talk to, the Avenged Sevenfold.
Kid Rock. That would be cool, but we're not doing that. Unless he's watching.
If I get my press credentials, which I hope to do, I might take you backstage. But what we'd like to do is introduce you to Tim and to Lloyd and to myself, and I'm gonna put my friend Ronnie Fish in the fold too.
Okay, Fisher, and you just were officially invited. But what we're gonna do later, and we will put the details out later, and we will, you know, have a whole plan for you guys. But it's gonna be a raffle and a competition for someone to have a ride and a dinner and just to hang out with these men that we worship from Indian.
I think it'd be fun. Yeah, we'll go for a ride. We'll grab something to eat. We'll tour the new facility there up in Sturgis. I mean, guys, come on. You saw that garage go up. It looks amazing. And it too is going to be more than just a garage. It's an experience, and there's so many things and dynamics that go with that. Plus, you know, it's just an exciting opportunity for us to meet somebody like yourself. So you're going to get details on how to enter, what everything is all about, but what you're winding up with is a full-blown VIP trip around the neighborhood with Tim, Lloyd, Curtis, and Fish.
Boom! You guys don't want to miss it. So Curtis and I are going to go check out the Challenger, have a little bit more fun, but we appreciate you guys more than anything, and we will release that raffle later. But
yeah, and now I will tell you this much. If you haven't gone to IndianMotorcycleCharlotte.com, like the page on Facebook and on Instagram, follow, like, notification. There, did you get the point? Okay. But also do it for IndianRiderRadio.com, because it will come in handy if it's bookmarked. Let's put it that way.
Little hint, like all of our pages.
Yeah. It's the blue thumb. You've seen it.
It's not hard. It's not hard to do, but just kidding. Well, Curtis, you are one of my favorite people, and this has been amazing. And you've brought something to Indian as a whole, as an industry, and for the customers that wasn't there before. And this partnership has been pretty fun.
It's been a ton of fun.
It has been.
We're gonna have more fun too. Don't get away, you guys. Stay close.